Something really strange happened to the actor who played the Joker. After filming wrapped up, his spark just went out, and in interviews, he looked more serious and tired. People on set said that during filming, there were moments when the line between Heath Ledger's personality and the Joker's seemed to blur more and more, like Heath was actually becoming the character. This makes sense if you consider that Heath locked himself in a room for almost 30 days to get into the right mindset, to live in the Joker's skin. That's what Heath wrote down in a mysterious diary. There's even a theory that the character ended up consuming him, and just 10 months after this hit production, Heath lost his life. In this video, I'll tell you the story. Heath Andrew Ledger was born in April 1979 in Perth, Australia. He grew up with his parents and his older sister, whom he deeply admired. In fact, his interest in acting started because of her, since he watched her do it from a young age. What no one imagines is that little kid born in a small town in Australia would go on to become a giant in the film industry. During elementary school, he started to realize he had a huge passion for chess, a game that would stick with him for life. He also joined several sports teams, developing a love for competition and always striving to improve, which became a big source of motivation. While these activities might seem simple, they were just the beginning of a long list of achievements. Things the little hit is good at. When he hits his teens, he goes to one of the most prestigious private schools in his city. That's where Hit decides to follow his biggest passion, acting. He starts taking part in lots of school plays and small productions. His first lead role comes when he plays Peter Pan in a play, giving him his first taste of performing in front of an audience. As he grows up, the kid starts getting noticed by people around him, especially for his friendly and outgoing personality. He's made a lot of friends who share his interests, and as he grew up, people described him as really wise for his age, with a deep understanding of the world around him. But besides being social, another big part of his personality is that he's super hard on himself when it comes to the goals he sets. Keep that in mind because it'll be important later. Since he really enjoyed being involved in acting, he decided to take it more seriously. He finished his studies early and dropped everything to focusing on his acting career, and knowing he has nothing to lose, he moves to Sydney with his best friend, a much bigger city where he's sure to find more opportunities. Together, they start making their way into the film industry. Even though this move is risky for someone so young, it's just the first step in what will be a skyrocketing career. During this time, the guy takes his first steps in professional acting, starting out as an extra in the Australian movie Clowning Around. He goes on to work in shows like Ship to Shore and Home and Away. The latter becomes one of the most popular in Australia, standing out for its amazing cast, which includes actors like Isla Fisher and Chris Hemsworth. Thanks to his work in these hit productions, he lands bigger roles, appearing in Black Rock and also in another TV series called ROR, where he plays Connor, a charismatic and brave character destined to be a legendary leader fighting for his people's freedom. He had the energy to juggle tons of projects, hang out with friends, and create art all at once. According to his close circle, he was someone who never ran out of energy, always full of new ideas and constantly chasing new ambitions, sports, and interests. While this was obviously good for him, his energy was so intense that he started developing insomnia. Sometimes he'd show up at his friends' houses at 5 a.m. just to share some idea he had, or he'd call his manager in the middle of the night with questions and projects. Remember, this topic about insomnia is important. Now, going back to the story, the role he plays in Roar helps show off the skills and potential the guy has. Thanks to that, a couple of years later, he lands his first leading role in a movie called Two Hands, a crime comedy that came out in 1999. It's a crime thriller with dark humor that follows Jimmy, a young guy working as a bouncer at a nightclub in Sydney. Jimmy, played by Heath, is seen caught up in a world of crime. He's offered an easy way to make money by delivering a small package to a local gangster. The problem is, messing with those people brings him a lot of trouble. At the same time, Jimmy is in a relationship with a girl named Alex, who gives him a different outlook on life and helps him rethink his path. To Ledger's surprise, the movie becomes a huge hit and eventually a classic. Playing Playing this role acts as a springboard for the guy, really boosting his career. Leaving behind his Australian roles to chase his dream in Hollywood, all those parts he'd played over time had built his image as a charming, good-looking guy with an amazing voice who could win over any girl. Meanwhile, a romantic comedy was in the works that needed a lead actor with those exact qualities. A movie co-starring a young woman named Julia Stiles called 10 Things I Hate About You. This comedy, romantic is a modern take on William Shakespeare set in a 90s high school. If you haven't seen it yet, here's a bit about it. The movie follows Patrick Verona, a mysterious and rebellious student played by Heath Ledger. Patrick is hired by a group of students to go after Kat, a strong and independent girl who turns down every guy who tries to get close to her. As Patrick tries to win Kat's attention, things start to developing real feelings for her complicates the original plan. Throughout the movie, Patrick shows a mix of his tough guy image and his more vulnerable, understanding side. This duality gives us moments like the one on the bleachers, where Patrick reveals a tender, vulnerable side by singing a live song with the school orchestra while escaping from the guards trying to shut down the whole show, a gesture that even melts Kat's hard heart a little. Like many women who saw this movie, Leader's role is flawless in it. Plus, the film deals with universal themes for young people, like the need to fit in at high school and teenage love, which quickly made it a huge hit and shot him to international fame. It also finally made Leader feel like a real actor. The problem that often happens when an actor is really good in a particular role is that producers only want to cast them in that kind of part. He tends to take on similar roles and hits. These are the typical handsome guy parts, but Ledger knew he had way more to offer, so he turned down those roles to avoid limiting his talent. That's why he decided to look for more diverse and challenging parts, and in fact, his agent said he was offered the role of Peter Parker in Spider-Man, but he turned it down because he wanted to be seen as a more serious actor. The following year, he landed a role that perfectly matched his ambitions in The Patriot. In this movie, he plays a son whose tragic death drives his father, played by Mel Gibson, to seek revenge amid a war. This performance leaves everyone impressed, showing the boy's ability and talent for playing complex, deep characters. Sharing the screen with actors like Mel Gibson opens more doors for him in the film industry, setting the stage for a role that will soon shake up the movie world with his portrayal of an iconic villain. From that moment on, Ledger accepts the role. He lands role after role, and each one turns into a hit. Among his standout works are movies like Heart of a Night, Casanova, and The Secret of the Green Brothers. With every new performance, Lear proves he's not just a good-looking face, but a seriously talented actor who can bring characters to life with a depth and complexity few can match. By the time he's 26, the young actor scores a major role in one of the most controversial films of its time, Secret in the Mountain. The movie came out in 2005 and tells the story of two cowboys who meet one summer in the Wyoming mountains. Even though both men live by the social rules of their time, every summer up there they let it all go to dive into a forbidden love. I say controversial because back then, this film was one of the few to show something that wasn't normally accepted in relationships on the big screen, and the fact that Heath played his role with such intensity just shows the commitment he put into each of his characters. Although this ability to really dive into his roles might seem like a good thing, it could actually bring serious consequences. I know it sounds weird that a strength could cause problems, but let me explain. During the filming of Brokeback Mountain, he was constantly checking the monitors to watch his takes. It's not something a lot of actors do because they get too self-conscious about acting, but for Ledger, instead of messing him up, it actually helped him improve take after take until he nailed it. Plus, according to his agent, Heath always went after roles that were more and more challenging, trying to completely disappear into a character to the point where he was almost unrecognizable. That was his goal every time he acted. It was his guiding star. Obviously, this perfectionism, feeling exhausted, and losing yourself in the roles you play are things worth admiring. The problem is that this perfectionism can cause a lot of fatigue, and getting so absorbed in the roles you take on can blur the lines between your true self and the character you're portraying. I want you to remember this because this way of working is about to bring a lot of trouble for the guy when he takes on what will be the best role of his life, but also the start of his downfall with his big part in Secret of the Mountain. A young actor establishes himself as one of the brightest promises of his generation. He's so good that he finally gets nominated for an Oscar, but he doesn't end up winning. Still, the nomination opens the door to a flood of awards, interviews, and recognition. Fun fact, during the filming of Brokeback Mountain, he meets Michelle Williams, who plays his wife in the movie. From their very first meeting, there's an instant connection that soon turns into a romantic relationship. By the time the movie hit drops a new single, and Michelle and him are already inseparable. You see them together at all these award shows, always smiling and hugging. Then, one day, at one of those events, Michelle shows up in a dress that highlights her baby bump, announcing they're expecting their first child. They've got a solid, settled family life in Brooklyn. Hit doesn't just stick to acting. He starts diving into his love for art, from photography and painting to music, even teaming up with a friend to start a production company, a musical called Las Misas, where they create both music and music videos. In this creative environment, a film project comes up that really excites him. Queen's Gambit, based on Walter Tevis's novel about a chess prodigy. This movie is a unique opportunity for him because his fascination with chess gives him a personal connection to the project. He wants to star in it, produce it, and even direct the film, blending his passion for the game with his dedication to acting. However, this is the moment he gets offered a role that could change everything. A part in the Batman movie as the Joker. He knows this role is super challenging, so he decides to put his projects on hold and dive back into bringing this character to life. That's how he ends up locking himself in a room for about 30 days, completely isolated to nail down the character's voice and behavior, his way of thinking, and even his laugh, but also to deeply understand the psychology and behavior of the iconic villain. He writes down his thoughts and ideas about it in this notebook you're seeing here, along with his Joker card deck. Inside the notebook, we can see a drawing of a woman he used as inspiration to create Joker's laugh. Likewise, there are several clippings of a guy named Alex the Large, a character from the movie A Clockwork Orange, a psychopath who embodies violence, hedonism, and rebellion against authority and social rules. Besides enjoying watching and performing acts of extreme aggression, we also see more clowns and the first tests of what would later become the official Joker makeup in the final movie. Remember when I said he pushes himself hard when he sets a goal? This time, the actor is determined to be the best Joker, but decides to take it to another level, an effort that soon costs him his mental health and, sadly, his life, once he's transformed into the Joker. The filming of the movie Batman: The Dark Knight begins. Kid says this was one of the most fun shoots he's ever done, but also one of the toughest and most exhausting because every scene demanded so much energy. Plus, he was really committed to making sure every scene was perfect. That level of dedication is seriously impressive and shows just how intense the actor gets with his roles. After that, he works very closely with Christopher Nolan, the director of the film, perfecting every detail of the performance, from acting to makeup and costume. This teamwork between the actor, production, and director results in what's considered the best Joker portrayal ever, setting a super high and almost impossible standard for future takes on the character. And I say almost impossible because recently another actor has stood out with just as extreme a level of commitment. Joaquin Phoenix, who, like Ledger, revealed that he fully immersed himself completely in the role of the Joker, bringing a different and unique version to the big screen. Phoenix lost about 50 pounds for this movie, all to portray the character in his most fragile and malnourished state. But that's not all. Phoenix also dove deep into the character's psychology like Ledger did, exploring total isolation to understand the mental illness that defines the Joker. And once again, this level of dedication gave us a different version, but almost as iconic as the one Ledger created. However, for Ledger, the Batman movie meant something much deeper. The Joker was, for him, a sentence into complete darkness, because just 10 months after playing this character, Ledger would lose his life. After years of good luck, his life took an unexpected turn. In September 2007, he divorced Michelle Williams, which forced him to stay away from home and their little daughter. Because of this, he decided to focus even more on his career, taking on a new project without knowing it would be his last. The imaginary world of Dr. Parnassus in this movie features Heath playing Tony, a complex character with a dark past and an enigmatic personality. Like in his recent roles, he brings this character to life with an amazing performance, conveying a mix of mystery and vulnerability. Unfortunately, he couldn't finish filming due to a tragic event. It seems the Joker role really took a toll on Heath. More than anyone expected, the darkness and complexity of the character, along with the pressure from his career and other personal factors, seem to have contributed to an increase in his anxiety and trouble sleeping. He went from being a very energetic, lively person to someone more withdrawn and serious. Lots of people have speculated about the reasons behind this change in his behavior after playing the Joker, and several theories have come up. Here's the most popular one. As part of his commitment throughout his career with the different roles he's played, he used a style called method acting. This approach is based on techniques developed by Konstantin Stanislavski and later adapted by actors and directors, especially in Hollywood. Method acting aims for the actor to not just show the character's emotions, but to truly live and feel them, instead of just pretending or acting like they're going through something. An actor tries to feel those emotions as if they were their own. This is often done by tapping into their personal experiences and memories, looking for deep emotional connections that bring them closer to the truth of the character. A key part of the method is that it engages the actor's conscious mind and willpower to trigger psychological processes that are harder to control, like emotional experience and unconscious behavior. During rehearsal, the actor looks for internal reasons to justify the character's actions. A character defines what they want to achieve in each moment. This process can lead to a deeply authentic performance, but it can also push the actor to explore intense mental and emotional states. In the case of Heath Ledger, preparing to play the Joker involved a level of immersion that few actors are willing to take on. Ledger isolated himself for weeks in a hotel room, where he worked intensely to capture the essence of the Joker. During this time, he experimented with different voices, attitudes, and ways of thinking. What's remarkable about this investment is that reading allowed his mind to intertwine with the Joker's to the point where he started thinking, feeling, and reacting like the character. According to these theories and accounts from those close to him during filming, this process also began to affect his life off set. It's like the line between him and the Joker blurred. You also have to keep in mind that all this work and immersion in the role didn't last just a day or a week. Actually, not even a month. The full run of Batman, The Dark Knight, lasted a total of 13 weeks, which took a huge physical and mental toll on Heath. According to later accounts and interviews with people close to him, we learned that to deal with insomnia and anxiety, the actor started relying on several prescribed medications, including sleeping pills and anti-anxiety drugs. His physical and mental exhaustion, combined with the use of these meds, created a tough cycle to break. Despite these struggles, the actor remained determined. He had his whole future ahead of him since he was only 28, but in January 2008, Height was found dead in his apartment. The cause of death was an accidental overdose of prescribed medications, the same ones he used to cope with his own mind. According to the autopsy, he had taken a lethal mix of these drugs, including diazepam and oxycodone. The combination triggered respiratory failure, which ultimately led to his death. It makes it even sadder when you think about it. Life that's gone. We think about the potential that was lost, all the roles he never played, and the movies that could have moved us but never will. After his death, the film where he gave his all, Batman: The Dark Knight, was released. The result? The best Joker performance seen up to that point, and one of the most acclaimed superhero movies ever, all thanks to Christopher Nolan's extraordinary direction. Christian Bale's take on Batman and the life Heath brought to the Joker were amazing, but the next year, something magical happened. The 2009 Oscars rolled around, and the movie Slumdog Millionaire won Best Picture, while Kate Winslet took home Best Actress for her role in The Reader. But now it's time to give out one more award, the Best Supporting Actor. The host gets ready, opens the envelope, and announces that the winner is Heath Ledger. The audience erupts in applause. With a mix of excitement and sadness, her family goes up to accept the award, and in a speech that breaks the hearts of many actors in the room, the mother of Git says, "He was a generous and compassionate soul who brought emotion and inspiration to our lives. Tonight, We choose to celebrate and be happy for what he achieved. In the end, he had managed to win the highest honor in acting, an honor that sadly came too late, but still, it turns into a hug for his legacy, forever cementing his place in film history in front of all the people who knew him. Time stands still, and the magic of his performance on screen as the Joker comes back strong, reminding us that even though his life was short, his art is and will always be eternal.